Okay, guys, very welcome back to the show. And I have three amazing guests here today. Men that I had pleasure with, not that kind of pleasure, but pleasure on the stage with.
Great start.
Yes, pleasure on the stage with, but not that kind of pleasure. It's the Chop Sueys, the ultimate System of a Down tribute band based here in Ireland. I've been happy to do a couple of after parties for these guys, and we're going to get to know the guys today and see how they met and how all this came about. So I'm going to start with you, Loris, at the top, and we'll work our way down. Just tell us about yourselves and how you guys met.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm Loris. I play bass, so I'm probably the one that you notice the least on stage. You know, such is the life of a bass player.
The biggest guy on stage.
Yeah, very tall.
Yeah, should we do a round first, and then we can talk about how we met? George.
All right. Well, hey everyone. Thanks, Maurice, for having us on the show. My name's George. I'm the singer in the band. I'm the smallest person on stage. Like these guys are freaking giants compared to me. So I'm actually the most difficult to notice on stage. Passing on to Felix.
All right. Hi, everyone. Also happy to be here. So yeah, I'm the guitarist, also doubling as a band manager. I think I'm somewhere there in between where you can notice me on the stage. Yeah. Probably George, as the smallest one, still takes 95% of attention, but that's what a good frontman should do.
Mm-hmm. I concur. Guys, how did this all start? If anyone wants to jump at the question.
I can start it, and George, you can continue or add to it. Basically, it started once upon a time. So I arrived in Ireland in 2011 to work in the gaming industry, and shortly after me working in that company that was called Riot Games, George actually joined the company also, and we were kind of like, there were a couple of musicians. And I really wanted to start a band back then. And so George started, and he was like, hey, I have a band back in Hungary. I did albums. And also it was like, oh, really cool. And then within the company, I had identified someone who was also kind of like, I want to say almost a semi-professional drummer. He was in a really good band. We're playing with Irish lads in Dublin. Really good drummer. And also there was a guitar player. And so we kind of like all met together and starting playing music, right? And so we played like in the early 2010s for like a year. And then fast forward to last year, we had a lunch with George. We were chatting and we were like, fucking hell, wouldn't it be nice to start playing music again? And so kind of like the motto we had was, we want minimum effort, maximum output. And so with the goal being, we want to have fun, we want to play live music, and we want to play for people to have fun, right? And so the fastest way to do that is to play covers so that people know the songs and you get to play them for them and they just come and have a great time, right? And back in the days, we were covering a couple of bands, and System was already a band that we were covering back then. And it's just like, it's a really fun band to cover and to play. Like it's just a lot of fun to do, right? And George happens to be able to sing clean, but also to growl and have like those heavy passage from System, right? And so he's able to have the range which not everyone can do, right? And so we were like, okay, let's try to do System again. We love playing it. Also, it's kind of like we're in the middle of a nu metal renaissance, kind of, right? And System is like insanely popular, actually even more popular than what I believed a year ago. I think we're realizing every time we play, we're like, holy shit, people love System, and there's a lot of people who love System, which is really cool to see, right? And so so we just talked and we said, hey, let's try and let's see if we can maybe book a couple of gigs, have maybe some gigs and maybe a few people coming to see us and have fun, and we'd be happy with that. So we were kind of like shooting and see like what was going to happen. And from there, I think George posted a message on a Facebook group that we were looking for a drummer and a guitar player, and Felix answered. And we had a tryout, and instantly we loved Felix. I think he loved us too, and like it just instantly worked. We warmed up to you, and so no, it were like instantly. We were like, holy shit, like kind of like same mindset. And then we had our first gig in Fibbers, and from then on it went much faster and much bigger than what we were expecting. And I think like what really worked also, and what was great with getting to meet Felix was that we all had kind of like the same mindset of like, let's learn the songs, let's show up, we know our stuff, so we don't have to have like hundreds of hours of rehearsals to sound good. So everyone does the homework, and we do the maximum output to be ready to play live as fast as we can, right? And I think that's what's been working really well for the past year, with the band. It's just that we all have that kind of same mindset of let's go have fun, let's sound as best as we can, and let's just make people enjoy the music. Anything else to add?
Indeed. So what I could add to this is back then, like it was 2013 or something, when we started playing with Loris, with the work band. Actually, Loris got Lady Gaga's costume designer to design costumes for us, and we played in Cologne at this major games festival. I don't know if I can share the screen. I can show some pictures, and it's absolutely crazy how it looks like. Let me try. If I click present, is it gonna work? Share screen. Let's see. Okay, yeah, let me share screen. It's absolutely crazy. So look at this.
Aha. Let's have a look at this.
Check this out. Like this is Loris here.
Oh god.
Yeah.
That's the wig, by the way. I already didn't have much hair.
Yeah. This is myself with like.
Oh, that's your Halloween costume.
Corey Taylor. Sorry?
It was indeed, yeah.
That was your Halloween costume for Fibbers.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly. It is. We're still banking on it. Gonna bank on this forever and ever. And every year.
I think he's frozen, has he?
Yeah, I think we've lost George. No.
Oh, that was maybe a bit too technical there, what he done. Tell me about that anyway while we wait for him to come back.
Yeah, so like for the story, so basically what happened is, for everyone who is familiar with League of Legends, that's the game that we all worked on at Riot Games at the time. And basically what happened is, like, the game, you play champions, and you buy skins, and different skins for different champions have themes. And one of the theme is you have like an imaginary metal band in the world of the game, and that imaginary metal band is called Pentakill. And so basically what happened is, that's something I was working in, like, events marketing back then, and I was like, wouldn't it be cool to bring that imaginary band to life and play real music dressed as those characters for fans of the game, right? And so again, what happened is, when I was like, okay, George is a singer, we have Loic who plays drum, we have Philippe who plays the guitars, and so I grouped them up and I was like, guys, should we try to play music? If we're good enough, let's try to sell that as a live event project to the company, basically, and say, hey, we want to do this, we want to do that, etc. So we started playing music. We thought we sounded pretty good. We then, I made kind of like a deck project. We managed to sell it to the managers at the time. And fast forward 6 months later, we were playing during the summer at Gamescom, which is like a big gaming convention in Cologne, in Germany. And so that's where I got a budget, and then I was looking at companies to do costumes, and that's how we ended up flying to the Netherlands actually to get the costumes made for us. And we got to play so every day for like 5 days we were playing. Sorry, at the end of the day, and that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Right, Felix. Let's get you on the mic there.
Yeah, so from my perspective, how we found each other, like I think it was Loris who mentioned it. Yeah, Josh made the post on Facebook, and coincidentally, I think I joined like the musician group maybe like a week ago, and I thought like, okay, I'll just see what's out there. Maybe might give it a go, look for something fun. And then, the idea or like the whole pitch that he had is, here's a couple of bands that potentially I'd like to do as a tribute. Let's have minimum effort, maximum fun. And I just wanted to play live a bit. So it kind of made sense to me and it appealed to me. And I like System as well. When I started playing guitar a bit more than 10 years ago, that was one of the first bands that I was learning how to play in guitar. So I've already known like a bunch of their songs. So it kind of was like a no-brainer. So I went for it. And the whole thing turned out to be, as doing a tribute band is sort of like the minimum effort and maximum output, sort of like cheating the system, right? But the way we do this, we actually put in the maximum effort that we can, like in the context of having a tribute band, right? So if you look at the bands, maybe in general, why 99.9% of them like break up or they don't get anywhere, or a lot of the bands will start and they might never really push out their music or never really get to perform live. And I've been part of those bands previously as well, where you play some music, but you never even get your first live show. Or there's like maybe one or two live shows happening, and that's the reality for a lot of people. You really need to have the driving force behind behind the band, and beyond of just learning the songs and playing them and playing tight. You need to have those entrepreneurs, people who are able to network and to push the band further, and all the extra stuff that comes within it. I think what really is what really strikes right in the center here is that the whole band does something extra besides playing their instrument. So it's a really good combination where everything chips in and does something very important. So we have our socials up to date, we have our own ticketing system, we have a whole website. Like if it was just me, for example, I wouldn't be able to do a website on my own. So it's great to have those people in within the band, and I think that really, helped us, and that's where we are today. So I'm really, really happy to have found have found those guys, And we're having a bunch of fun as well. So I wouldn't say it's minimum effort in the context of the tribute band that we're doing, but it's maximum fun.
Sorry to cut across you. That's what I was going to say about the minimum effort thing. Like minimum effort, but you pick one of the hardest fucking bands to cover in the world.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
going.
It's. I think. Yeah. I think it's. It's a hard band to sing for sure. And again, like I cannot sing enough praises to George, because System is like it's not easy at all, right? To sing. But yeah, it is fun for sure. It is definitely fun to play.
He's got a great. Oh, he's back. He's got a. Wait out. Is he?
He's back. On the phone or?
Yeah. What happened?
Yeah.
You broke the system, so to speak.
Yeah. It just died. But here I am.
We killed your PC. God damn it!
Exactly. It couldn't take Lady Gaga's costumes. It was too awesome.
We were just about to sing your praises there about being the front man and how difficult it is to some system. Do you want to chip in on that for us?
About the kind of frontman I am, or what? Wow,
yeah.
I don't know.
Tell yourself, man.
So, yeah, okay. Well, I've been doing this since I was 5. If I could do anything in life, I would be doing this. I tried this as a professional for a few years. This is really my life. But then obviously I wasn't good enough to make it big time. So then eventually you need to start and think about what you do in life to actually not starve to death. So then I went into tech, and yeah, I started having a 9-to-5 job. But before that, I was in the biggest music theater of Hungary. I had my own band. We have our originals. Did a lot of gigs across the country, abroad, everywhere. So yeah, if I could do one thing in life, I would definitely do this. And I'm very happy that I managed to found these guys, and we're having all of these gigs, and it's a ton of fun. It's a bit more adult now, like we started this with a vision, like, okay, minimum effort, maximum output. We do this to connect with people, to give people like a good half an hour, a good hour, a good 1.5 hours of time. Like it's I don't think I'm necessarily the best singer out there or the best anything, but if I can give people a good time, then it's great, And I think this is what matters, and this is what drives us as well. Like I think people don't necessarily remember exactly the notes they heard, or how perfectly we were playing, or how perfectly or not perfectly I was singing, or how I was fucking up the other night, but they might remember how we make them feel. And I think this connection piece that we usually have with our audience during the gigs is amazing. And I think System of a Down and their songs really enable us to just connect with people and give them some good experiences. Like we've gotten a lot of great feedback, which we're super grateful. And yeah, honestly, this is not like we can't save lives, we can't do a heart surgery, we can't, I don't know, build houses for the poor or anything. But if we can give someone an hour of a good time, I'll take it. And I think being able to do this with the guys, and being so much on the same wavelength, being able to do this with you DJing after us, man, it has been so much fun, and I'm really grateful to have this now.
Yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed any night that I've been out with you guys, and really appreciate getting to work with you as well. So, but anyone that I've ever taken to see you guys, like they all say the same thing. It's all really positive, and it all comes from you as well, George, in the way that you're able to kind of pull people into the shows as well. I know the guys will back me up on that. But for people that don't know, your guys' setup, do you want to go through your setup just with the in-ears, what kind of stuff you use and all that kind of stuff for people that might be interested in that side of things?
Felix, you want to take this?
The tech guy.
Sure, yeah. So in general, for in-ears, we started going in-ears, I think from this year. Just we invested into quite a very budget-friendly setup. So, given that we were not playing arenas or any huge venues, at least yet, right? So we were able to get away with an easier option. So essentially, what we're doing, we only have one transmitter in on 4 receivers, so we all get the same mix. So no fighting in a band where somebody needs to hear more bass or more guitar, but it's working out fine for us. We like it more than playing with studio monitors. So far, so good, right? And maybe for the rest of the setup, with the guitar, the main guitar and the bass, we prefer to go into the PA now because you just get more clear sound, in our opinion. So for like the gear people and like the sound people, there might be a debate as well whether, some people just like the amps, like the presence of amps on stage, and I get that, to each its own. But then what you're getting, you get the sound on the stage, and then it's also coming from the speakers. So sometimes what you might get, depending on where you stand, it might be a bit more muddy. And then for us, why we like to go into the PA directly is, we're pretty much getting the same sound every time, more or less, and it gives us more control, but also more clarity. Right. And then we're using in-ears anyway. So then we don't have the amps on stage that make the noise. We don't have the stage wedges, the stage monitors that make noise as well. So we only get it from the PA. So that way the sound should be a bit more clearer. And personally, I also love very simple setups, where you don't have to carry a lot, and where you don't need to buy a bunch of different gear. So I just use a Line 6 Pod Go wireless version, I'm very happy with it. So, all the effects, all the different sounds, and I use like clean, I use crunch, and I use heavier, distorted guitar, and some effects as well. It's all in there. Very simple. I don't like some more complicated stuff, so I'm quite happy with it. And also, a good thing is that I noticed from like the sound engineers, they don't have to tune my sound. I pretty much plug it in. They do the sound check for like 30 seconds, and I go like, yeah, you're good. So I think that's not them being lazy, but I've heard compliments from them like your sound is good as it is. So I think with that whole setup, simplifying things, embracing digital, that has paid off for us.
Yeah, on this, I cannot praise enough the straight to PA. I think only boomers and gear snobs still want to play with amps. The reality is, when you start playing in a semi decent venue, which is pretty much every single, like I have to say, in Ireland, every single venue has been at least decent. We haven't played in like bad venues ever.
Yes.
And so any semi-decent venue has a PA. And so the thing is, people who spend hours upon hours, dialing their sound on their amp to sound a specific way, it doesn't fucking matter, because your sound is going to go on the PA. And it's not going to sound like your amp sounds. So like having an amp does not fucking matter, like at all. And so, with that said, the best thing you can do is actually say fuck it, not have an amp, and have an amp simulation. And so I'm using a really like an amazing pedal for bass, which again, it's like it basically simulates an Ampeg 8x10, which is kind of like the classic, super classic Ampeg sound. Like the 8x10 it's fucking huge, right? Like it's like, I don't know how many kgs you would have to carry around. I have it as a pedal, and it sounds literally 99.9% the same. So it's like why wouldn't you, right? And as Felix said, for the sound engineers, it's so much easier because they don't have to dial in between. Like there's always a fight between the sound coming from the stage and the sound from the PA, and it's like, how do you try to make it work, because they fight each other and all. Here you don't have sound, like it's quiet stage, how you call it, right? And it's already like, I could not recommend enough to go quiet stage. It's so much better.
Yeah. And there's no feedback either. Like that's
Never
really cool.
any feedback with IEMs. So again, you don't have
nothing on stage to give you any feedback, which is great. I think it's a lot clearer what we hear in our ears. So I think we play better as a result of that. For me, singing is so much easier because I don't have to kill myself. I don't have to fight with super loud stage, and then from the wedges you usually don't hear yourself that well. Like for me, I feel like I'm definitely singing better and hitting the tones much better with this setup than previously. I was just thinking about this today, like, yeah, holy shit, why haven't I done this before? And I remember I was playing way back, like, I don't know, 15 years ago in a Limp Bizkit tribute band. I was playing guitar actually. And then like I tried going this route, but the pedals just weren't good enough yet. So I had the Bosch GT8, I think. And it was okay with the cleans. It was okay with, probably a bit less okay with the distortion, but it didn't sound as good as a real amp back then. But I feel like what you guys have now, Felix, your guitar sounds are like just exactly as you would hear System of a Down, like on the actual record. And it's really crazy how good it sounds. It's probably not for everybody. Like people might say, oh yeah, what the hell? This is not true rock and roll, or maybe this is not heavy enough. But I think heaviness comes from how you play as well, and what vibes you give off, and all of that stuff. And for us, it has definitely worked out for the better, I would say.
For those people who have the orange, what is it called, micro or tiny terror? So George still has a tiny amp with a tiny cap for his rhythm guitar.
I do, but I'm actually thinking about maybe getting a pedal as well. Honestly, it might be better for us if I go to pedal. But yeah, just need to spare some some money for it. But I think eventually it might be better than having just a single amp on stage. It's a lot. It's like actually that little orange amp is crazy how good it is. Like it's surprising.
I
But at the
noticed
same time,
a little small orange amp in the corner.
yeah. Yeah, actually, Limp Bizkit used it. There is some gig where you see them on like this massive stage and they have like some massive amps, but actually their little orange amp on the ground is mic'd, and you listen to that. So it's pretty freaking cool actually. But still, like yeah, I don't really play that much. I just play, I don't know, like maybe 5% of the time or 10% of the time. So it's mostly Loris and then Felix. And honestly, yeah, going in ears and not having anything on stage, I feel like it helped us a lot. So just we can wholeheartedly recommend it to anyone who's been thinking about it. Just jump into it. It might feel weird at first when you're rehearsing and oh, there's nothing, and you really hear everything super clean. So if you mess something up, you'll freaking hear it. Like if you're not clean with your vocals, you'll hear it. If you do some mistake, you'll hear it. But what it does is it makes you play better, like makes you a better musician, makes you better as a unit, which just leads to better quality shows at the end of the day, which everybody's happy for.
Before we talk about what's coming up, I just want to know from like this is still a relatively new project for all of you guys. I just want to know what some of your favorite memories of shows have been so far in the last couple of years.
If I may, I think like I think in terms of like best shows, I think I have two that stand out in my mind, mainly because of the crowd. I think our first show in Dolan's, the crowd in Limerick was just, I don't know, there was something like that's something that again I was never touring. I never played really. I never played live before that, right? So I was always a bedroom musician, and what you realize is how crowds can be different, and it's very strange. You play the same set list, you just have a different crowd, and the crowd gives you a different feel, and it's a very interesting thing to witness and to live through, right? And so I think, yeah, I don't know, like that Dolan's Limerick crowd was, there was something there where the crowd was just very, like everyone was happy and singing, and it like there was just an amazing vibe basically to it. Not that like we always have amazing vibes, right? But like this one specifically stood out in my mind for whatever reason. And I think probably the craziest gig we had, and I think the guys will probably say yes to that. It was Waterford Electric Avenue.
Yeah.
Electric Avenue, like the name lived like basically the night lived up to the name of the venue, Electric. It was fucking insane, right? Like electric, like just insane.
That
And
was
so
like
like
one of my favorite nights ever. That was just fucking
It-
crazy. All in a
just
good.
My
crazy.
favorite night ever as well, but yeah.
Crazy, like just crazy, right? And so like that definitely was one where all of us, we like after the gig we looked at each other and we were like, what the fuck was that? Like that was insane, right?
Yeah. And after the gig as well, during your DJ set, it was like there's such an energy there. It was a lot of fun. It was
Too much
really,
whiskey,
really good.
too much whiskey that night. Don't really remember the end, but I think it went well.
I think I went Jaeger bombs. I don't remember either.
Okay. No complaints anyway. Actually,
Definitely no.
if Waterford lives up to what it did last time, surely when we go back there on October 25th, I think it is, for a Halloween party, then, you know, if we could raise the stakes even more, I think that'll be a really, really good night as well.
Yeah, really high hopes for to go back there. Yes.
No pressure, Waterford, but it's on now. It's freaking on.
Anything to add to that, Felix?
Oh yeah, actually, I'm still at the stage where I remember every show that we played, and every show was special. There wasn't a show that I didn't love. But maybe one that stands out the most, we've been very much only playing in Ireland, and we did one gig in Estonia as well. That was pretty crazy. Just like traveling for the weekend, well, to my hometown, to my home country, to play that one gig. A lot of planning went into it. A lot of the things could have gone wrong. One of the things that go wrong, so Loris couldn't come with us, so we had to find a replacement in country. So thankfully, I knew a guy, a guitarist actually, but he's really good at. He's a multi-instrumentalist. So he's really good at bass as well, and he did a fantastic job, filling in those huge shoes of Loris's.
shout out to Kevin.
So yeah, that was crazy. That was I mean, such a fun weekend, and playing abroad, and this is something that we are looking forward to doing more. So there are some things in the works. So hopefully, beginning of next year, we'll be able to tour a bit more and get outside of Ireland. But for now, we just had a little revision. I think we have 11 gigs planned for this year, just in Ireland alone.
I think that the thing about like Waterford and places like that is, I know from living in the countryside, they're kind of starved of nights like that. So when they do come to the small town or the city that normally doesn't get a rock night, they're kind of to be special. Different kind of energy. But what we're going to discuss now is this big show here, which is happening next week in the Sugar Club. Yourselves, Renegades and Funk. I'm going to do the after party. How are we looking for next week?
Hot.
Hell yeah. Super
Hell-
excited.
Hell to the yeah.
It's gonna be like big proper venue, 350 capacity or something. I think is gonna be our biggest show so far. Super looking forward to this. Yeah, it's gonna be bigger than all the shows we've done before. So, but really, I think we're still going to try and have that connection piece there because that's who we are. Even though like the crowd's gonna be a bit bigger, still you can expect a lot of singing and dancing and having fun together. Like that definitely won't change. So I personally look forward to it so much, even though like I've been out sick for a while, but I think I should be fine by then. I'm just incredibly excited, and yeah, should be amazing.
Also
Yeah.
excited to be sharing the stage with Renegades of Fun. It's it's an Irish cover band for Rage that has been around for a pretty long time actually, and it's always nice to be able to share the stage with like local acts and local bands, whether they are writing their own music or other tribute bands, and that's something that we had been talking for a while, and I think we'd like to try to do that a bit more, which is sometimes we talk about like, can we do multi-tribute like nu metal concert, right? Where we're like, so that's the first time we're kind of trying it with them. And so we're playing Sugar Club with them in 2 weeks, and then we'll be back in Dolan's in Limerick in September. And again, we're going back with Rage there. But kind of like that idea of like, can we bring together more than one nu metal tribute and make a super big night with like 1, 2, 3, 4 different nu metal bands to make something really, really cool and really big, right? So that's definitely something I think that we can. There's more, hopefully more opportunities for us to try that and to bring several bands together to do really cool concerts like that.
Yeah, and we've got Ailsha coming up for a couple of shows towards the end of the year as well, and she's
very
pretty
excited.
cool. So I'm looking forward to see what kind of dynamic that those shows bring as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like that's gonna be a very interesting one. Like she like her music is really cool, and so again, it's gonna be very interesting, very, very interesting to see.
So this is the tour we're going to talk about here. The chicken fried rice tour. Bart.
Yes.
Look at all those dates.
Yeah, we have a good few dates actually. Yeah.
So there's 2 festivals in there, and I'll go back to the screen here. So Whiplash and the one in Laois. So Whiplash is huge. I'm not sure if I've heard of the one in Laois, but it's only over the road, so hopefully I'll be able to make that one myself. But Whiplash obviously is sorry, is it called Whiplash?
Yes,
Sligo.
Whiplash. Yeah.
Sligo Whiplash.
Yeah, in Sligo. Yeah.
Sligo, so I was just kind of confused there for a second. Yeah, but that's a pretty big festival. You must be excited for that one.
like super excited. So basically, I remember us reaching out to them last year. We had just started, right? And so it was like, oh, we know like it's I think this year is like their 24th year or something.
Yeah.
And so we reached out last year. I assume they already had like the full lineup or whatever. So like we didn't hear back, and it was like, like we were just a couple of months old at that stage as a band. So like there was very little expectations that we had. And then fast forward a year later, which is not much actually. And I think this time they got in contact with us and they said, hey, do you want to play for us? Do you want to play at Whiplash? And so we were like, fuck yeah. And so it's and again, it's that really cool thing of managing to be, I guess, to be good enough in a way that you have festivals and organizers who then reach out and be like, hey, people seem to like you, do you want to come, right? And being able to give to have a good time like that. And I think like our last gig was Templemore. And last year we got really lucky that I think they had one band kind of like that couldn't play, and they reached out to us kind of last minute. And again, we were really young at that stage, right? And I'm not even sure, Felix, maybe but I don't know how they even found us. And I think they just reached out and they were like, hey, we have a slot, do you want to play? And so for us, who we were really young at that time, we were like, sure, like we'll take anything, we'll do it, right? And we had an amazing time last year. And then we told them, hey, if you want us back for 24, we'll do it. And then we played like a month ago there. And again, so much fun, like really good vibes with the crowds, with the people, with the organizers. So yeah, just a lot of fun.
PSA for all festival organizers, reach out to us. We want to play festivals. Like
we want to play festivals.
Whoever you are, wherever you are.
Yeah, and
I think
I think that's the thing, right? And I think, Morris, maybe you might have those discussions also, because I think System is seen by a lot of people who are not too much into metal as extreme. When actually, and that's something that we constantly talk about within the band, right? Which is I am always amazed at the how different the crowds are, in a sense of, when you say metal, you usually expect like bearded, like 80% dudes, 20% women, maybe like even 90-10, right? Like that's kind of like the metal stereotype that you would expect. And I am always floored by the amount, like I want to say our crowds are usually 50-50 in terms of like male-female ratio, right? And in terms of age, it goes from teens, when the teens can come, because often the shows are 18 plus, but it goes from teens all the way to 50 plus years old, right? And so there's such an insane variety of people like coming to hear System, that it's actually very surprising. And so I think there's a lot of venues who might or festivals who might hear System of a Down, ooh, that's metal, that's too harsh, right? And they don't realize the variety of people who actually come. Like one of the moments that is like drilled in my head is we played in Galway, and that was back in November or December last year, I think. It was the Sally Long's bar. Really cool bar, kind of like small venue, so like you're really close to the people. It's very organic feel, right? And I remember there was a dude, and he was, I want to say, late 50s at the bar, and he was in a suit. So I guess he came from work or something, right? And he was drinking his Guinness or whatever at the bar. And then, so that's when we came, right? And when we started playing, he was still sitting at the bar. And as we started playing, he was up on his chair going like, whoa, singing and all in his fucking suit. And I was like, what the hell, right? That was like so unexpected to see someone like that. And that's always, that's what I tell people. I'm like, I am always so amazed by the variety of people who actually love System of a Down and come to listen to us. And it's not just like hardcore metalheads, right?
I always find that there was a reluctancy, even with me trying to book gigs, and it's happened in a few venues that I won't name, that we did get over the line eventually, but Then, like where I live in Kilkenny, at the moment, there's no venue that are open for it because they think it's too heavy, etc., etc. But that may all change soon. I've got a few ideas, but
Nice.
but there's that perception though, and I find it strange because you're coming in and you're renting the venue, so nobody's going to walk in by accident to this thing. That's why sometimes I can't understand that. But I think judging by the videos and what people see, what's going on around the country with your guys' nights and whatever, they'd be foolish not to book it, in my opinion. And continued success, and I reckon it's going to be a busy end to the year, and I reckon it's going to be an even busier 2025 for you guys as well.
We hope.
Hell yeah.
Looking forward to it.
I do have one place in England that I was telling you about a couple of weeks back to try and, well, there's 3 places in England, but I'm trying to get them all to align. But sometimes, Felix, you'll attest to this as well, when you're talking to bars and clubs, communication can be slow. And as time ticks on, then you're trying to organize something. Time is everything, especially if you're leaving the country.
Yeah, it's a good idea to line a few up. But once you're in a plane and you get somewhere, then you just want to make sure that you do a few gigs in a line like that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, excited. If you have anything for us, man, let us know. We're in.
But guys, before we wrap up this podcast today, just tell the people that want to follow you guys where's the best place to find you online.
I think just start at thechopsueys.com and you will find all our socials there. But I think all our socials are now The Chop Sueys. So Instagram.com/The Chop Sueys and Facebook and YouTube and whatever. I don't think we have a TikTok, or we're boomers for TikTok. Maybe we need to revisit that with our social media manager.
I thought about TikTok. Yeah. TikTok, it's very specific in terms of like type of content. So like, it's like if we were doing like a lot of like behind the scenes, in rehearsal, silly videos, like that's a place where you could do TikTok. But yeah,
we have a different target demographic as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like TikTok is much kind of younger. So Instagram seems to be the place on average for people who follow bands. Like Instagram seems to be the place. So usually that's the one where we would be the most active, is Instagram.
Yeah, I put a couple of clips of you guys on TikTok from the shows. I don't use it that much because I feel like I'm too old for it.
Likewise.
That's how
but there's one of them that's got like 2,000 views, and the first comment underneath it is saying, "Is that the Chop Sueys?" So people know.
Oh wow! Okay, then let's go. Let's go.
Nice.
I'll update the description of this video when Loris sets up the TikTok. But guys, I'll see you in Dublin next week. Can't wait for it.
Absolutely, can't wait.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you
Pleasure,
so much,
guys.